What's up, everybody? Tour dates, I got them. Well, actually, I got one big one. It's coming up October 21st, San Pedro, California, which, of course, is my neighborhood in Los Angeles. I'm going to be at the Grand Annex. I'm producing a comedy series at the Grand Annex in San Pedro, California. The first show is October 21st, and it features myself and Stephanie Blum. Stephanie Blum has been on Nickelodeon, MTV, HBO, you name it. She's phenomenal. She's one of my favorite comics in all of LA. She's one of my favorite comics anywhere, really. And that show featuring her and myself is going to be on October 21st, 8 p.m., San Pedro, California at the Grand Annex. You can get tickets at romplacone.com. Again, that's October 21st, Saturday night, 8 p.m. at the Grand Annex. Stephanie Blum and myself, tickets at romplacone.com. See you there. Episode 003, Stephanie Blum. Stephanie Blum is a comedian, and before that, get this, she was a psychologist. We talk about that fun intersection. I first saw Stephanie at a house show in Los Angeles, which aren't super common, but they do happen. Our mutual friend Michelle Marsh was putting it on. Michelle's shows are always great, by the way. She'll definitely be a guest on this show in the future. Anyway, I love Stephanie's stuff. And when I was approached by the Grand Annex here in San Pedro about bringing comedy to their venue, Stephanie was one of the first people I thought of who would be an excellent fit. I'm so stoked she'll be headlining the first show here on October 21st. We chat about crazy travel stories, AI, how she pivoted from being a psychologist to a comedian, and the general trials and tribulations of show business. Please welcome to the show, Stephanie Blum. So, Stephanie Blum, thank you so much for being here. Great to see you. It's been a minute.
Thank you.
You just had quite the adventure. We started talking about this off mic, but then I was kind of like, wait a second, I want to hear about this. So you just got back from New York, and what happened when you were trying to get back to Los Angeles?
Well, first of all, when we went to New York, we were on the plane, JetBlue, and we were taxiing, and they said we have to come back to the home base because someone was in the aisle, like slumped over in their seat, like this.
Geez.
And the flight attendant was trying to wake her up, and she just wouldn't answer. So they said we have to go back. We go back to the beginning. Then they bring on paramedics. Paramedics check out this woman, ask her questions, And the flight attendant said, I'm not comfortable leaving with her. And they said, well, we can't take her off because she's answering questions and she seems to be alert, right? She took a Xanax. So I think she didn't time it properly. You know how that happens.
Wow.
Yeah. So then the pilot gets on. We have to refuel now because there's always refueling involved, which means another hour on the plane. He gets on the mic and he says, everything's fine. We just had a passenger who wasn't feeling well, but she was just very tired. That's what he actually said. She was very tired. And I laughed out loud, and two people behind me laughed out loud because it was just, is that a diagnosis? Is that an explanation? She's just a little tired. I was like, oh, okay. Well, now she's good. We're all good. So we didn't hear from her again. But then coming home, they had us on the tarmac too, waiting, saying we need to wait. There's 40 people ahead of us. We need to wait.
So this is when you're in LA now?
Now I'm in New York, flying
Still
back to LA. Yeah.
Okay.
Now the other one with the little tired, that was on the way to New York.
Oh,
now
okay.
On the way back, we're sitting in the plane an hour. They said there's 40 planes ahead of us. And then finally they said, okay, we need to refuel because we're sitting here now. So wait, why don't you turn the plane off? I mean, I'm no pilot or no genius, but maybe turn the plane off so you save the fuel or put more fuel in. I don't know. What do I know? I play Nintendo, So we have to go back, refuel, and then we're standing in line again. And then they're like, another hour. We have to refuel. And then people
refueled twice.
Yeah, twice. And then they canceled. Then they canceled the flight. They canceled the flight, and we had to all get off. I mean, thank goodness I didn't have I had a show Sunday and this was Friday night, so I was a little nervous, but I was like, I'll make my show Sunday. So then I went to Newark from JFK, Newark, and took a flight at 5:30 in the morning.
Wow.
To get back to LA at 9 in the morning. Yeah, it was an adventure, but I felt bad for kids, like people with kids, because I remember that. I have 3 kids, but they're, teenagers. And but little kids on the plane, they're freaking out and people are getting annoyed with them and the parents are getting annoyed with the people that are getting annoyed with them. I just felt for them because I know what that's like. It's just like you feel hard. I remember I was on a plane and my son, he was 3, he was kicking the, sorry, my daughter is texting me. Of course, she never talks to me, but now she has to. Okay, can you hear me?
She's like, are you telling the plane story? It's a good one. Make sure you tell the plane story on the podcast.
No, you know what she's doing? Can you get me a tutor? I have a quiz tomorrow. That's what she's doing.
What she need a tutor in?
In math. We're not bright in math. Our whole family is very bad in math. But you're telling me the day that you need the tutor. Yeah, that's how my life usually is. They're like,
don't they have places they can go for that? Like, isn't there like a tutor center and whatnot?
Yes, there is. Thank you for bringing that up.
She won't go.
No, and we pay for a private school too. And we're like, now we're going to pay for a tutor? Go to they have a tutoring lab. Go there. And she's like, I don't understand. And they don't help me. That kind of thing. So anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, she's like, can you get me a tutor? I'm very busy. I'm telling plane stories. So I remember my son was 3. I was on a plane and my son was kicking the seat, how I'm trying to stop him and I'm apologizing to the woman in front because he's just kicking the seat. And I'm like, Noah, cut it out. Stop it. And she turns around and she goes, this is why we have murderers in the world.
Whoa.
Parents like you. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Isn't that
a leap? Isn't that a big leap, Ron? Like, isn't that like how about bad parenting? Like now I'm creating a murderer? That seems a little bit.
Yeah, that went from 0 to 100 real fast. That was, Yeah. I mean, I understand it's like sometimes people and I try really hard. Like I try really hard when I see people with kids to kind of be like, look, I get it, even though I don't have kids myself. I try not to ever have a not happy look on my face, although I can't promise that never happens. I can't promise I never have a bit of a frown, although these days I always have a mask on. So I guess maybe they won't know. But, but I do try my best. But yeah, that went to 100 really quick. Well, what did you tell her? Were you like, you're welcome?
I was shocked, and then I just started, and I don't like confrontation, but I started arguing with her. And then my husband was like, all right, let's just tone it down, like stop. Because I was like, what, are you out of your mind? Like I started like going at her, and then I was just like, you know what? Because I was annoyed too. He was a pain in my ass too. Don't get me wrong. And I understand people with no kids. I have kids. When I'm on a plane alone and I see kids, I don't want to see them. I don't want them near me. Sure. I don't want them crying. So I get it. Like I totally get it. I don't respect that, but I couldn't leave him home. He's 3 by himself.
That's the thing. I mean, honestly, if you would have left him at home, that's what makes serial killers.
Yeah. So I'm
neglect.
That's
her theory sucked for a number of reasons. Her theory was way off.
I know. I was like, what? You know what? Now I'm thinking of all the weird, I've never actually put them all together, all the kind of odd experiences I've had on planes, because
there were better comments than that one that you got.
No, a couple of months ago.
You're the reason for poverty. The way you're parenting right now. You caused it.
That's right. I create fun in the world with my, I create good times.
I just lost your picture. What happened?
Oh, I think it's letting me like put on my earphones now.
Oh, okay.
But now I don't want to. Go away, earphones. Oh,
there you go. You're back.
Like now it said, put on your earphones when I need them.
Oh, it picked it up.
Yeah,
Oh,
now
okay.
it picked it up. But there was this is probably 6 months ago, we were going to where I don't even remember. I think I was doing a show, and there was a woman, like me at the window, a woman in the middle, and then a daughter. So it was a mother-daughter. And the woman immediately when she got on the plane took off her shoes and started to curl up into a ball, like
Hmm.
to go to sleep. So I didn't poke her. I said, "Excuse me, could you?" She's in my space.
Oh, yeah, you
Her,
could do that.
her. You got to keep your back fat and your stuff on your side, which I do. I'm very conscious. She was in my area, so I said, "Excuse me, could you move over?" And she moved a little, and she's still on me. So I said, "Excuse me, you're in my." She says, "I'm sleeping. Stop bothering me." So I started taking pictures of her on my. I started so
Could be
I
like,
could.
this isn't over yet.
I started taking pictures, and the daughter goes, "Are you taking pictures of my mom? Are you taking pictures of my mother?" And I go, "No, yes, I am because because I need because I want to show you that she's on my." So the woman goes, "So why don't you move?" I go, "Why should I move? Like, I'm not moving." So she calls the flight attendant. And I go, "Good, let's call the
Whoa.
flight attendant. I would like to discuss this." So they come over and they're like, "This woman's taking pictures of my mother." It sounds bad for me, right? It opens up as bad for me. But I said, I'm just trying to show her she's in my seat and she's on hitting me and it's disturbing and uncomfortable, whatever. And then she started cursing at me in Spanish, the
Whoa.
daughter, and the mother told her to stop. And then they got put in another seat. Like they said, "Would you like to move those two?" And I got a full row.
Oh, what?
Woo!
All right. So you won that one.
I won that one. But
Good.
I was
There you
like,
go.
should I lie about it's going through my head like, are they going to confiscate my phone and see pictures of her? And then I lied about taking like all this. I watch a lot of crime shows, so all this
Mhm.
stuff was like in my head. Like I'm going to tell the truth, but that's really weird. Why am I taking pictures of her? But I was trying to take them like sneaky. But obviously, I'm
Okay.
horrible at that. Because she's like, "Are you
Wow.
taking?" So yeah, I didn't realize I had a few bizarre uh, plane experiences in
Yeah, you got a couple. See, I am a sleeper. I am a plane sleeper, but
Oh, okay.
I always make sure I'm in my seat. I mean, I'm a small guy. I'm 5'4". So it's easy for me to just kind of arrange myself in my own space that is mine, and then I fall asleep.
And you
The
don't
only
bother anyone.
I do not bother anyone. I mean, sometimes, usually, if there's like turbulence and it shifts my body, I mean, there have been times where I've like fallen into somebody because I was asleep and
Mm-hmm.
the plane, but then that wakes me up anyway, and I just apologize. But that's that's it. So
Right.
yeah, I'm a sleeper. I don't.
My
Apparently, I'm missing out on a lot of opportunities to make
There's a
friends.
lot of action going on. I remember this one other time my kids were little. They were like, I don't know, maybe 8 and 7 and 12 or something. And they come back and give you food.
Hmm.
And so I didn't buy anything at the airport. We were going to Florida, so it was like a 6-hour flight. Did not buy anything because I'll get it on the plane. They come back we're like in the third to the back, at the back of the plane. They come back to us and they're like, we ran out of food. I'm
Like
like, "You
totally, like just ran out of meals, or like,
ran out of meals, just
oh my god.
out of me." And I go, "Excuse me?" And I have 3 kids. Like I have nothing. And usually I have something. This time I just had nothing. And they said, "Yeah, I go, "Well, did it maybe occur to you not to give that guy 6 sandwiches? Shouldn't, if you see you're running low, shouldn't you limit people on how many food, plates they get so that everyone
Wow.
in the back gets?" So then people heard this and it was really sweet. People started handing us sandwiches. They're like,
Oh
"You want
wow.
some turkey? We have some tuna. Would you like some cheese?" Yeah. Like people were really
That's
nice,
cool.
but they're like, "We ran out." I go,
That's great. I've never heard of that happening.
"I know, maybe it's just for me so I could tell this story, but completely. I go, do you have a cracker? Like, you got something? Peanuts?
They didn't even have like
Nothing.
snacks. Oh my God.
They ran out of
That's
everything.
crazy.
And we
Do you
were
have a math tutor? Anything. What do you have?
Do you have a murderer? I need a murderer to tutor my son. Actually, one of my son's tutor, my son's 23. He also terrible in math. He had a math tutor when he was in high school. The tutor actually quit. The tutor quit.
Wow.
Because my son was so lethargic. And so, like, I swear to you.
Your son was the breaking point.
Yeah, he broke the tutor. My son broke the like. Why not? Like, any other person might take the money and just do your best because you want to make money. He wouldn't even take the money.
Wow.
He's like, I'm out. I'm out.
He's like, I'm just done.
He's like, he's his head is on the table. He's not He's lethargic. He's, I don't know, suicidal. No, he didn't say that. But
did he text you later? Like, look, my dream is to be in show business. Can you help me?
Well, he's like, I think he's going to be a murderer. So maybe it was true. Maybe it was that woman had something. Maybe she saw something in my son. Yeah, he said, I'm so sorry. I don't think this is working out. That's what the tutor said to me. And I go, really? It's working out for me. I pay you, you come. That's all. He goes, he's not really. And I actually, that guy had integrity. I'm kind of impressed with a tutor that won't take money. Because you could just say, I'll take the money, but your son is dumb. Like, I can't teach him, but I'll do my best.
I can only do so much with this.
But
I'll my best. I'm not a miracle worker.
I'll take your money, even though he's nothing's going in, but I'll take it.
So are you actually, is it true that you are a registered psychologist?
Yes, I am. Is that scary?
Okay.
Is that scary?
No. I just wasn't sure if it was one of those, because I think it's like in your Twitter bio, you have that listed, but then you also mentioned something about sarcasm. So I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if that meant you were being sarcastic but I was like, I think she actually is. So I just needed clarification.
Yes. I was a school psychologist for 12 years in Brooklyn in a high school.
Any murderers or no?
No, I think it was a very Italian area. So I think there might have been people in people's trunks or buried in cement. I don't know, but I don't
Italian?
ask. No, I'm actually Jewish.
You're not. Oh, okay.
No, but people think I am, and I have the accent. I was just in Staten Island visiting my brother, and I miss the authenticity of the people. I was sitting in a Starbucks, and there was a bunch of Catholic schoolgirls, and one of them was like, Ma, shut up. This is why I don't tell you stuff. I'm hanging up. I go, that's beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? She's honest. She's straightforward. She communicates, and it's people think that people from New York are rude. Like people have that opinion that we're, like rude and not kind people. But I actually think we're nicer maybe than California people. No offense. I don't know if you're from here.
Well, I'm not from California. I mean,
where are you from?
I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, so you understand.
Yeah.
People think
it's definitely different than New York, but yeah, a little bit.
It's different. I mean, people are just as angry here because they come here for their dreams, and a lot of them are broken, and it's a different place. A lot of my friends are kind of like New Yorkers,
Well, where in New York are you from exactly? Is it Staten Island or is it?
No, Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yeah. And my brother lives in Staten Island. But
so, did you get into comedy first and then become a psychologist later, or the other way around? Like, give me the timeline.
Okay, I went to Oneonta, upstate New York, for undergrad, master's at Brooklyn College, and then I just went right into psychology.
Okay.
Like right in, and I worked for 12 years. So I was a psychologist first, and then I started doing comedy like towards the end of my psychology career when I became pregnant. I was doing comedy when I was like 8 months pregnant also. But I did comedy. I started comedy about 2 years before I left school psychology.
So
Does that make sense?
what kind of made you start? Like what made you decide, oh, I don't want to be a psychologist anymore. I'm gonna get into comedy, or I'm gonna try Was it like just a hobby, or like how did it
I'm
how did that
sweating, so
materialize?
I'm in menopause. Sorry, Rob.
No, no, do what you got to do.
Hold on, I'm going to take a shower. Let's see. You know what's funny? I just took a class. I always
Okay.
loved comedy. I always loved comedy. I used to go to comedy clubs. I was not the class clown. Everyone, like a lot of comics say they were the class clown and not good at, like, didn't like school. I actually liked school and I was not the class clown. I was shy. But I remember the class clown would say something funny. I remember this in like third grade. They'd say something funny and get a laugh. And I was like, I thought of that like 5 seconds before they said it. And that was my laugh. It's weird because that never made me follow comedy though, even though I had that thought that was my laugh. So I took a class at the New School with Scott Blakeman. He's still a comic now.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was the teacher, and we took a class at the New School, 6 weeks. You work on 5 minutes, and then you perform at the comic strip.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. I was hooked. And I don't even remember that day. It was a blur. I was so nervous. All your friends are there, and no matter how much you suck, they say you're great, even though you're horrible. And I was hooked from then on. And it's
so
funny.
Did you quit the psychology thing right away, or did you like start?
No,
Okay.
because I worked in a high school, so I got out at 3. Mm-hmm. So I could go home. I had no kids, go home, shower, and then go do a show. So It was perfect, really. And then when I had my son, I stopped working. I stopped school psychology because I wanted to stay home with him, and then I continued the comedy.
So what brought you to LA? What made you decide to go to LA?
I was in the Aspen Comedy Festival, and also I was on Star Search. Mm-hmm. Remember Star Search?
Yes.
But it was with Arsenio Hall.
Oh, I didn't know he ever hosted that, actually.
Yeah, for about 2 years. I'm not that old, okay, with Ed McMahon. I'm not that old. But yeah, he hosted for 2 years, and they called me and said, come out. We need you to be on the show. And I'm like, okay. So I went out. My son was 3, and we were there for like 2 weeks, and they put us up, and I think it was February, and the weather was great, and we're like, what do you think about living here? That's really how easy it was for us to leave. Mm-hmm. We were like, and then we were like, okay, and we were afraid to tell our parents because they were going to be, upset. So we bought a house and then told them. Like,
oh, there you go.
Like, oh, yeah, we're looking at houses. We had already bought a house. But yeah, so that's how it was. Like, it's funny. That was the easiest decision, and I don't make decisions easily, but that was easy. I don't know why. I just think we were just ready, and my son was young enough to go. So we weren't taking him away from his friends and stuff.
Well, when you're hyper focused on the weather, it's very easy. I mean, the weather, it's like you can't beat that.
No. But now the weather tortures you because we're in Northridge and it's so hot.
Oh, ooh,
like
yeah.
We didn't research properly, Ron. Like we didn't work that out.
You guys get the heat waves. Yeah. See, I live in San Pedro. We have almost put our air conditioning unit in, but we have not yet.
Oh yeah. No, it's still 100, like maybe 90.
Oh, wow.
90 something. I don't have the fan on because I don't want to make noise, but I'm schwitzing over here. Schwitzing. So we should have moved somewhere that was cooler, but and then they started going to school, and you don't want to move them and stuff. So yeah, are you Italian?
I am. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm Italian American, and I'm also close with my family in Italy. And then I also have Jewish members of my family as well.
Yeah, Jews.
So
yeah.
We're
all the same.
There's a lot of crossover between those cultures, and it's a lot of like they're all really celebratory things. It's funny. My brother-in-law is Jewish, and they introduced me to, and I'm now spacing the name of it again, but it was this Jewish dessert, and I had not had it before, and I really liked it. And I was trying to describe it to somebody, and I described it as it's like dessert ravioli. And my brother-in-law's family thought that was the funniest thing they ever heard.
Dessert ravioli.
I described it as because it's shaped like a ravioli, but it's sweet.
Oh, rugula.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
It's like a triangle.
Yeah,
with something in the middle.
Yes, and you can put jelly on top.
Yes,
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
It's called arugula.
Arugula. All right, so I dug it. I loved it, and I forgot the name of it, and I described it as dessert ravioli. And my brother-in-law's family thought that was the funniest thing they ever heard.
That is. You did both. I love it. Yeah. You could put anything, jelly, Nutella, apricot jam. It's very delicious.
Nice.
Very delicious.
Yeah. No, I haven't been able to find them since, actually. Like, I go to a lot of the Jewish events in my neighborhood because I have a lot of Jewish friends, and they'll bring me as a guest and stuff. So I usually go to the Hanukkah candle lighting in San Pedro. It's usually right at Point Furman. I usually go to all that stuff, but I've not seen it at any of the events. And of course, I usually forget the name, so I don't want to ask. I don't want to be walking around like, it's dessert ravioli. Do you have any?
They're like, security?
They're like, what is this guy's problem?
What is wrong with him? Well, if I remember...
My brother-in-law thinks this is hilarious. Dessert ravioli.
Well, if I remember, I will bring you some to the show.
Oh, nice. Yes. I'm so... We're going to talk about that a little later here. But I wanted to ask you about a few more things in your past.
Sure.
Tell me about Road Mamas.
Oh, that was like a pilot that never went anywhere. You know those. It was a bunch of comics, and it actually almost went somewhere, but then there became a fight over a contract, and that was it. It was supposed to be on Nickelodeon. Yeah. The guy who was producing it, it was three of us, three comics. We all had kids, and we had an RV, and we were doing, the idea was that we were on the road with our kids, and then at night we would do comedy, so you'd see us like taking the kids to eat, doing touring in different places, but then at night we do comedy. So I thought it was a really good idea. I mean, at the time, this is going back. Now a lot of people are doing that stuff, but at that time it was kind of novel. So, but the guy who was producing it, he didn't invite us to the meeting with Nick Mom, and he said that it was his idea. So he took and made us like hired help, which means like it's not ours, but it was ours. And he signed the contract without us. Like, we kept going, we should be there. He's like, no, I'll take care of it.
So what was the contract for? Like, was it to buy the series, or was it just to buy the whole series?
To buy, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so then we called up and we said, this is what happened. He is not sole owner of this property. He signed this without our consent. So they walked away because they don't want. They don't want to deal. They don't want to deal.
They don't want to deal with that. No. They're like, okay, if you guys don't have your house in order, we're done. Yeah.
No, they did not want to deal with it. Not. And I was like, can you curse on here? I was like, what a dick. I mean, there was no reason for him to do that. He was part of it. We were all together. We weren't cutting him out, but he cut us out. And it was our talent, you know what I mean? Like, everything was us. And he taped our shows, that was going to be on it too, the comedy shows that we did. And and our kids, it was all our kids on it, it wasn't, he was producing it. But so that sucked.
Yeah. That's terrible. I think a lot of people don't realize how fickle things can be in this business, where it's like, if
Yeah.
there's just one blip, or like, I mean, if you had an opportunity and then the producer who wanted to make that opportunity available to you gets replaced, your opportunity is over, because that new person is going to come in and they're going to be like, whatever this person had in the books, gone.
That's right.
And that can happen every 3 weeks in this freaking business.
Yeah, and that happens with bookers at clubs, because you're in, right? You know, you're in, and then they change the booker, or the booker retires and you're out. You're out. Mm-hmm. And you don't have a relationship. They don't know you. They have 100 other people they know, and then you don't get spots anymore. And you've had that relationship for 10 years, and now you have no relationship. So, but it's funny. I didn't realize, like, when you start to read about actors and actresses and stuff, how many pilots they've had that didn't go anywhere. Like, I didn't even realize that. They're like, so when they get a pilot, they're not even excited, because they know it may not go. They've had 10, 12 that went nowhere, you know?
Yeah, and most don't even get to that. But I mean, I write pilots like everybody else in this town. And it's like, I realize 90% of the stuff that I write is never going to see the light of day. You know, and out of the stuff that does, most of it will just be because I had the means to make it myself.
Yep.
And then hopefully, you know, that there's that small percentage that gets sold on a larger scale.
Right.
And that's the life we've chosen.
And I don't understand why things go viral, why they don't go viral, listen, I watch cats all the time. You know, like I watch videos of cats. I'm not going to lie to you. I could spend hours watching animals or babies. Why? I don't know. So it's like, how do you appeal? Like, what appeals to certain people and what makes it go viral? Do you know, like, they'll do one thing. Like, you have people going, oh, you know, I have like 6 months to live and blah, blah, blah. And I really need people to talk to and like my video. Nobody. But then you go, should I get bangs? And you have like everyone commenting, like, like, I'm like, what? I don't understand. Like, they're like, yeah, you should get bangs. That would look nice on you. You know, like, there's a whole conversation about nonsense. I don't know. I haven't figured it out.
It's so much of it, and I have no idea either. But all I know is there are so many freaking factors that nobody can predict. I mean, you can try the best you can, and there's something to be said about, you know, like learning the different algorithms, when is the best time to post, and the different platforms, what works where. That's all great information. There are people who have really become experts in that, but I think there's just got to be a stroke of right place, right time, and it just snowballs.
Yeah.
And who knows? Who knows?
It's just weird. I guess what I do, I mean, I don't post tons, but I just post stuff that's fun for me, because I can't figure out what people like. That's like when I first started comedy, you're always thinking, are they going to think it's funny? Are they going to think it's funny? You know, rather than, what do I want to talk about? Because what I want to talk about, well, I'll make it funny, you know? So you have to just keep posting stuff that's fun for you and that you enjoy. I mean, that's the only way I could see it. And also, I'm like so lazy that, like, I'm like, I should post that. Yeah, I should write something funny. And then I'm like, nah. You know, like, I just, like, in 1 minute, I've, like, turned myself off to the whole thing. But
what can be exhausting, especially since there's 1,000,005 platforms now.
Right. And it's
like there's 1,000,005 things.
I know. And they say post at one. Don't post more than once. Post at the end of the day. Post in the middle of the day. Post on Facebook. And I don't know. It's a whole business. I mean, actually, you know, a friend of mine's son is going into, he's a psychologist, and his job is going to be to talk to people who are addicted to social media. That's like a whole nother field now, that are actually addicted to social media.
Do you ever think about jumping back into that? Help the social media addicts?
Nah. I'm trying to work with my son so he won't become a murderer. So
there you go.
Working on that. He still lives at home, so we'll get him out of here and living with someone else. but we love him. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. But no, I sometimes I do. Actually, I like the most part about the psychology. I like the counseling with the kids, because I had to do a lot of testing, psychological testing, and writing reports, and that I wasn't crazy about. I like the one-on-one, and I do sometimes think about it, but I have enough friends to counsel. You know,
Oh, sure.
Half of them just got divorced, so there's a lot of work to be done.
Well, yeah, and you're a comic, so you know plenty of people with inadequate or non-existent health insurance.
Yes,
who,
or
who definitely
insecurities.
need some help.
We all have low self-esteem, so I got a lot to work with, including myself. So,
do you think LA as we know it is over?
there's my cat.
There's a cat.
Excuse me, Ollie. Hello.
Ollie, you're adorable.
Ollie's my three-legged cat.
Aw.
I had to I didn't amputate it, but he had to have it amputated because it was broken.
Aw, buddy. Is he doing all right?
Yeah, he's doing great. He runs very quickly for a three-legged cat. LA done.
Not necessarily done, but like as we like, do you think it'll go back to what it was? I guess is my that's a better
I
way to
don't
put
think
it.
so. I mean, everyone
Really?
now is afraid of the AI stuff, so that's coming in. So that's a whole nother level of stuff, you know, that I think they're going to try to eliminate writers, eliminate people doing certain jobs. And I mean, I think the world is changing, but because LA is the writing capital and the AI is a big deal, I mean, I think it's not going to take that long for them to be able to come up with really, I want to say that our creativity wins out. I want to say that, like, in that nobody could write like an artist or a writer, but I don't know. You know, maybe for certain shows you can. Very simple, you know, cartoons or simple reality. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely a place that it's going to come up very quickly for those areas. Maybe not for really moving intellectual shows, but
I think it's so hard to predict, because it's like, how could any of us have predicted, you know, smartphones evolving the way they did?
Yeah.
But right now, my personal take, what worries me more about AI at the moment is using people's likenesses indefinitely and things like that, more so than, AI is going to be able to churn out a script. You know, AI cannot think creatively. It cannot develop a story. And right now, even for the most basic, like I think AI, I think it's not out of the realm within the next handful of years that AI will be able to develop a reasonable press release. It already can technically do that, but it needs so much feeding from a human, and then so much massaging from a human, that it's almost like it's almost more work. It's almost more work to like feed the robot and then clean up after the robot than it is to just write the frickin' press release yourself. So
that's true, but you could pay it less.
You could pay it less, but don't. I mean, you got to pay that human that's doing the feeding too, though.
That's true, but that could be like minimum wage, because it doesn't have to be.
Well, they're already trying to do that. They're already doing that.
Yeah, because it doesn't.
No, I see what you're saying. I mean, I think that the concern is definitely there.
Yeah.
I just think it can be, and I think that's why people are so adamant. It's more like, let's nip it in the bud now.
Right.
You know, like maybe in 2 years AI will be able to write a script. Maybe not. It's really tough to say, but like, we need to nip it in the bud now, because especially since everybody remembers, or at least is aware of, in 2007, nobody knew what the streamers were going to become. And some people said, this is nothing. Other people said, hey, this is something. The former group was wrong, but they didn't fight for the residuals. And now look at where we're at, you know? So I think part of it is, let's get ahead of the curve this time and make sure we nip AI in the bud, whatever it's going to be capable of.
Right. And I feel like, this is what off the track, but it is and it isn't. Like, people go in for like artificial insemination, right? Women, because they want to use a donor sperm and not have a husband, or they don't have a husband, or whatever. They want to have the kid alone. I feel like soon you're going to be able to download sperm and get yourself pregnant.
Whoa. Like download.
Yeah. Like you're going to be able
from online.
Yeah. Well, it might be delivered by a drone.
So an Amazon drone's going to drop off some jizz. That's like.
Exactly.
That's what you think's going to happen.
That's
you might be right.
And I won't be around to see it, but I'll be up there going, I told them. And then,
there's the jizz drone. I knew it.
Right.
That was me. I called it.
That was me. I could have been famous. I could have been rich. And then somehow they're going to create the computer where you can, inseminate yourself. Mark my words.
I don't doubt you. I mean, I
You don't have. Nobody has to have sex. No mess. You just.
That's like, what movie was that? That was Demolition Man, right? Was that Demolition Man?
I don't know. I didn't see that.
Oh, okay. It was one of those like kind of like future dystopian type movies where it's like they don't have sex anymore. It's all virtual.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was. I think it was Demolition. It might have been something else, but it was one of those types of movies. Like from the 90s, but now you're kind of it's sort of eerie how much they've been accurate on here in 2023.
That's right.
So you're like, well, we're still having sex, but that might, oh boy, what if they might phase that out?
That's right. What about the sex robots that are coming in, that are supposedly something that's down the pike, the sex robots, and also, do you remember it's like an old Woody Allen, one of his first movies where they had this orgasm machine? Do you remember that? Like they went into.
Not.
Oh, okay. It's like, I forgot which one. It's like one of his early movies. And they go into this machine, two people. They wouldn't have sex. It was like an orgasm machine, and they just come out happy. Like they had orgasms just by being in this machine. So Woody Allen was onto something.
I'd be okay with something like that. I mean, I feel like that's a perfectly fine invention.
Yeah, we have things to do. I have wash, to go to Target. I don't have time for nonsense.
So let's talk about this show, October 21st. And of course, plug anything else you want to plug. But yeah, October 21st, you're coming to my neighborhood.
I am.
Yeah, and we're doing a show in San Pedro. Everyone's really excited to see you. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's my first one with the Grand Annex. So you were my first my first pick. Hopefully, it's gonna be a series, and I'll get to do it more with them. But yeah, really excited. Everyone listening, it's October 21st, 8 p.m. You can get tickets at my website, ronplacone.com. And what else do you have coming up?
I have what's coming up. I'm opening for Fritz Coleman, the weatherman. He is October 15th at the El Portal. So that's fun. It's a theater, El Portal. And I'm doing something for Cancer We Spark. It's an organization for cancer research. So I'm doing that. But I am most excited about your show.
Aww.
I am very excited. I'm looking forward to it. I know it's going to be awesome. And I'm excited. I love theaters. Theaters are amazing.
Oh, it's a cool space. You're going to love the space. It's a really neat stage. And they've been...
How big is it? How many...
It's like $120, $150.
Nice.
So it's a decent size, but it's also, a pretty intimate space. Like there's not a bad seat in the house, and it's a really good room for comedy. They have an open mic night once a month that I'll show up at just because it's like down the street from my house. And
oh, nice.
And yeah, after a while they just kind of were like, "Would you want to do something here?" And I said, "Yeah, I think that sounds awesome." So.
Oh, that's so cool. I
Yeah.
love that. Do you travel a lot for comedy?
Not as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I mean, I did the Fringe this year, and I'm trying to do more stuff overseas. But yeah, I don't really do the road the way I used to. Just I wanted to get more involved with stuff here, although with the strike, that's sort of,
Yeah.
impossible.
That's tricky. I know there are
So
comics that travel so much. I don't. They're from New York, and I saw one the other day at a show. I hadn't seen him in 20 years. He's been out here, and I've been out here,
yeah,
and I have not seen him ever because you don't run into in New York. You kind of run into people.
yeah.
It's
Here
different.
you might not.
No.
Yeah, it is different in that regard. Well, I feel like New York is so much more stand-up centric than LA
Yeah,
is.
that's true. That
And
did you do stand up at the Fringe? Did you do, or is it story?
yeah. No, I did.
Oh, cool.
I did a show, and yeah, it was amazing. I don't know if you've ever
Wow.
done it, but
No.
it was so fun.
Oh, that's
I
so cool.
Yeah, it's not cheap, but I would like to do it more. I would like to do it as much as I possibly can. But yeah, well, thank you so much for doing this,
Thank you.
and yeah, I can't wait for October 21st.
Me too. I'll see you there. Come on out, everybody. It's going to be a great show.
Hey guys, Ron Placone here. Take your own 1,000 challenge. No, you don't need to interview 1,000 people, although if you want to do that, go for it. Your 1,000 challenge can be whatever you want. Maybe you want to call a friend out of the blue once a week. Maybe you want to read a book every month. Maybe you want to start a different garden every season. I guess that might be dependent on where you live. Look, the point of the challenge is taking on an endeavor that enriches your life in some way, and it can be measured. And then, of course, you do it regularly. That's what 1,000 is doing for me, and hopefully for you too. The main reason for this podcast and every podcast I've ever done is to build community. So take your own challenge. Then join our Facebook group. It's called 1,000 What's Your Challenge? ? That's 1,000 What's Your Challenge ? And post about what your 1,000 challenge is and the progress you're making. All I ask is that people be encouraging of each other's challenges. This is personal and vulnerable, so be cool. There's enough negativity on social media. We don't need to add to it. For those of you who aren't on Facebook, hopefully in the future we'll be expanding to places like Discord, Reddit, but for now, we're starting on Facebook. And again, that Facebook group is called 1,000 What's Your Challenge? See you there.